Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
Welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. But for our radio audience here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com, we're glad that you all could be with us. Also tuning in to our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcast. We're glad you all could be with us as well. We're excited to welcome back best-selling author Kwame Alexander to our program today. He's celebrating a brand new book. You guys are going to love this. It's called The Door of No Return. We're going to talk to Kwame not only about the writing of the book, but also what it's been like for him to take us back in time to tell this amazing story, but I think also not only to entertain, but also to inspire as well. If you guys are not staying connected with Kwame, we're going to let you guys know where to find him there, too. Kwame, thank you again for the time. Really appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome, Cyrus. Good to be here.
So Kwame, I think this book, The Door of No Return, is proof that, you can pretty much write anything. I think the last time we had you on, it was with your National Geographic book. And I think now Here we have you here with The Door of No Return. What has it been like for you to introduce Kofi to the world and to see the response to it already?
This is the book I was called to write, writing books that have sports metaphors for the past 8 years. Using basketball as a metaphor to teach young people lessons, baseball and soccer. And, I decided I was going to write a book about Kofi and my experiences going to Ghana 11 times, and swimming became the metaphor for this book. And so really this was a story I wanted to tell about the water and the power of the water, and how it's been a wonder and a woe for Black people for time immemorial. And so Kofi's story came out of that experience of wanting to write about the water and traveling to Ghana over the past 8 years.
So it's interesting to hear you say that, Kwame, because I think the thing about the book for me as I was reading it, of course, it has your signature style, but I think, too, there's so many great themes in this book that have to do with Kofi kind of coming into his own, realizing the power he can have, but also the strength in numbers, too. So what was that like for you to play with those two themes in this book, especially considering the time that the book is set in?
Well, it takes a village to raise a child is an old African proverb, and I am telling this story that's set in 1860 Ghana, West Africa, and I knew, there's going to be a conflict that 11-year-old Kofi, who's soon to be 12, is going to face, and the water and swimming is going to play a role in that conflict. And so, ultimately, this is a story about a boy who has a crush on a girl. He has a cousin who's a bully who likes the same girl. His cousin beats him at everything, and racing and wrestling. And finally, he realizes that, wait, I'm a good swimmer. If I challenge my cousin to a swim-off, perhaps I can beat him, get my pride back, and sort of win the heart of the girl. And so that became the basis of the story. And that's an average, everyday sort of, happening or occurrence or conflict for young people is, dealing with bullies and dealing with crushes. But I also knew that at a certain point in the story, things were going to change. There was going to be a turn, and it was going to move. It was going to move from the dramatic to the traumatic. So when you ask what was it like, this is the hardest book I've ever written. I traffic in joy and hope and upliftment. So to write this book, knowing where it was headed, it was difficult.
So that's interesting, Kwame, because you said that this is a book that you were meant to write, but it also was the most difficult. So for yourself then, as you're having these conversations, and again, in the way that the story is told, where we're kind of able to feel the emotion, how does it feel to know that people are already resonating with it, that they're already getting it, and feeling a part of it?
Here's the deal. When you write a book, you want people to read it. You want people to get invested in it. You want people to turn the page and not be able to put it down. That's your hope. And so, when I get asked that kind of question, it's what you hope. But am I ever sure as an artist that it's happening? I don't think any artist is. There's so much doubt in what we do. Are people liking it? Are people going to show up to my event? Is this book really meaningful and significant? The hope is that it is. And so, I turn that around to you. If you've read it, do you feel like it resonated with you?
Yeah, it does resonate with me in ways I did not expect. I'm someone who I wouldn't say I'm necessarily drawn to historical fiction, but I am drawn to stories. I am drawn to characters, and you gave us that. You gave us individuals that we could either see ourselves in or to aspire to be like. And I think that's what makes The Door of No Return a fascinating read. I want to ask you about the audience for this book then, Kwame, because it seems like this was a personal project for you. Since it is a book that is going out in the world, I know it is written, of course, especially with the publisher, with a younger audience in mind, but was that something that you knew that this was something that would resonate with people of all age ranges?
Yeah, so that's the thing. When I write, Cyrus, I'm writing about young people, but I'm writing for everyone. So when I think about comps for this book, I think of The Hunger Games, and I also think of The Secret Life of Bees, which was about a little girl and sort of her coming of age, but that was an adult novel. But I felt like it could work on a lot of different levels. I try to write books for me. I try to write books for me, Kwame, as an adult, and books that I would have loved to have read when I was a kid. So because there's no, genre for kids and adults, I don't know, is there a family fiction genre? No, probably not. It should be. Maybe I'm going to create it, Cyrus. Good idea. But
there you go.
Because there's no genre, I think it's probably from a marketing business perspective, it's probably best to put it in this young people's sort of marketing segment. And so that's really that's really out of, not out of choice for me, but it's out of necessity. But yeah, I think one of my ultimate goals as a writer, one of my missions in life is to help inspire, engage, inform, and empower young people, to help them imagine a better world through the literature. And I want to contribute to that.
Kwame, last thing I want to ask you about, and I've referenced it a couple of times, and you're known for this, and this is what has become known as your signature style of writing. One of the things we see Kobe has to do is to be able to trust himself. What made you comfortable in trusting your own voice as a storyteller?
This is book number 36, and, it's become a habit. You do something enough, it becomes a habit. I love writing stories in verse, using the power of poetry to tell tales, to write in a way that's concise and rhythmic and figurative. And I think poetry affords me the capacity to talk about really heavy and weighty things in a way that makes it digestible and palatable for people. So I've just become comfortable in it. I love it. And it's a language of love I choose to use, that I've been, using for 30 plus years.
Gotcha. Well, it definitely works for you, Kwame. It has in the past and definitely does with the new book. Again, the book is called The Door of No Return. Our guest is best-selling author Kwame Alexander. You guys can get the book through our friends at Amazon.com or through your favorite local bookstore. If they don't have it, I know they'd be more than happy to order it for you. Kwame, I know you're all over the place, but how can our audience stay connected with you?
You can stay connected with me on social media, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, at Kwame Alexander. And there's a lot of cool stuff, book giveaways, tour diaries, and just my joy of words and love of literature. My goal is to change the world one word at a time. So y'all stay in touch. Let's do this together. Peace.
All right, Kwame. Congratulations to you again, man. Glad to speak with you and looking forward to our next chat together.
Thanks. As am I, Cyrus. Be well.
Or you as well. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.